Ready? Mm-hmm. The moment. You say the first thing.
Hi, Molly Wood.
I don't remember how it goes.
I don't literally like. I think I say my name and then you say your name and I say welcome to Buzz Out Loud. Okay, good.
Just checking.
I don't know. I hope we do it right.
Don't get another chance.
I'm nervous.
Welcome to our 11th.
20th another chance.
Our 10.1 year.
Remembers? Do I say my name and he says his name and then I say welcome to Buzz Out Loud?
Yeah.
That's how it goes, right? And he says I'm Tamara and then I say welcome
Someone
to
has
Buzz
to
Out
say
Loud.
the date.
Well, unless we're
That date came
doing it
later.
pre,
Yeah.
like really early.
Yeah.
Right.
Otherwise, it's date. Yeah.
Let's not do the date.
No, because we got the camera on just to.
Hi, I'm Molly Wood. Oh, after.
You gotta start over.
Yes. Do it again. Why don't we remember how to do the show? Oh, old as hell.
Ready?
Yeah, when do I say it? After the music starts?
Yeah, it's a little, you'll feel
I'll-
that
you know what?
part. That
It'll
part,
happen.
that part will come back.
Yes.
Here we go.
Okay.
And here we go.
Hi, I'm Molly Wood.
And I'm Tom Merritt.
And welcome to Buzz Out Loud, CNET's podcast of indeterminate length. It's so indeterminate that it's back 10 years later.
Sort of. Yay!
Yay!
Veronica Belmont is here as well.
Hello. Super
And
excited.
Jason
Jason
Howell.
Howell. Yay!
And
Made
we
it all
have
the way here from Belleville.
all the way.
I know.
How was the drive?
Seriously.
About 30 minutes.
Yeah?
So
Oh, good.
really not that bad.
Indeterminate-ish length.
Yeah,
You
it
could have
wasn't
listened
like a
to part
plane
of an
flight or
episode.
anything.
Yeah, so we are just here to remember Buzz Out Loud.
But not to bury her.
No, mostly because we're really old and we can barely remember things.
Oh my god. Yeah, there's nothing that will make you feel older than the like 10-year anniversary of the show that you actually haven't done in a few years, meaning it's that old. But I don't know, there was like an email thread with the three of us and we kind of thought, oh, we should totally do something.
Yeah.
And then that something turned into a live studio audience with like past guests and names that we know so well from Twitter and the chat room.
Yeah, huge thanks to Jenny Josephson, producer from DTNS, for like pushing us and organizing.
Yes.
Amazing thanks to Darren Kitchen and the Hack 5 crew.
Yeah.
We said, as Molly said, we're like, we just want like a place to sit and, you know, stream the show, and then we ended up with this.
And we walk in, and Darren has built an entire set
Yeah, it's
in
pretty
the Hack
impressive.
5 space that apparently didn't exist before. Turned this amazing way. There's like a jib. There's catering.
Yeah. We have
Like-
cocktails. There's a bar.
Yes,
we have
thank you
cocktails.
to
Little
Jason
day
at the Baltic
drinking.
Yes,
as well.
Jason at the Baltic. Yay! Tip, by the way, you guys, early and often.
Yeah.
Tip your
Tip your
bartender.
bartenders. So, yeah, we talked about this and we were like, we could do a show or we could go down memory lane. The thing is, the last episode of Buzz Out Loud was sort of the best of. That was when we played all the clips and cried and everything. So we just kind of want to take this to be more like, like a panel and talk about what we've been doing since and how Buzz Out Loud affected our lives.
But
made us into the people
not
we are
just
today.
ours. Like, I think that the great, yes, a little bit of that. We'll tell you what we're up to or whatever, but hopefully you know, because Twitter. But to me, the greatest thing about the Buzz Out Loud experience has been the Buzz Out Loud legacy. Like, and we're gonna get to that later, but all of the people who were sort of part of our like family, who have themselves either were inspired to do podcasting or some version of media as a result, and there are a surprising number of those people. And then a lot of them have gone on to just be like wildly successful, like totally badass.
Yeah.
I mean, the space that we're sitting in, arguably too, is an example, right? Like, Darren knew our show, we knew him. The next thing you know, he's out here just like crushing it, buying a freaking warehouse, turning it into an amazing event space. Like, it's Just it's kind of been cool to see the ripple effect of the show, I think.
Absolutely. And just thinking about a podcast even being 10 years old is like crazy for
Yes.
me right now. Like
We do
I'm
not
still,
get enough credit.
Because we were there at the beginning. But yeah, it was like
We may not be there now, but we were
Podcast-
there at the beginning.
podcasts weren't even on iTunes yet. They were like, we had to hand edit all the RSS and XML files. Like it was, we didn't have like SoundCloud or other like file hosting sites. We did everything on like Akamai, like really big services that we used internally.
Now
and
it's
we're
ridiculously easy.
It's so easy now, and it's just, well, yeah, it is.
Yeah,
It's
it really
it's
is.
unbelievable.
Comparatively.
It's like,
Comparatively,
yes,
yeah.
comparatively.
Yeah, absolutely.
There used to be so much manual management of all of these
Right.
things, just RSS feed, period, to
Yeah.
begin with. And now it's just like, upload file, everyone has access. It's magical.
Well, I feel like Jason and Veronica, didn't they just spend most of their time tracking down like the emails that would come in? Like, I can't download the thing on this thing. This one device, there was a huge problem with the Zune.
Yeah.
The
Podcast doesn't work out, yeah.
The Zune was not
The what
having
now?
Buzz
The
Out
what?
Loud. Not having it. There would be, and we would. There were like 2 or 3 people. Holly Hawk was one of them.
Yeah.
Who I think had the Zune and would be like, "Hey, sorry to bother you,
But we showed
but
them
I
'cause
still can't get BOL on my Zune."
we outlived that thing. So I just want to point that out. We outlived the Zune. We
Yeah.
persevered past
That
it.
should be
So
the
that's
new
our
tagline.
legacy.
iPodder
Yeah.
X is just not downloading the RSS, Veronica. Can you troubleshoot that?
I can't. I mean, really, if you saw how much time that these guys spent just
Yeah.
chasing down like
Yeah.
individual feeds that wouldn't deliver properly, like it was crazy. It was a pain in the
I would put it in the nightmarish category at times.
That's
Were
okay.
you
Yeah.
still handwriting RSS when you handed it over to Jason?
I had a whole document like explaining exactly like how you had to write it and
Yeah.
what had to be and what to fix and how to reping it and do all this stuff, and it was very complicated. If I ever went on vacation, I was like in a panic state
Oh,
the
yeah.
whole time.
I know that panic state.
Yeah, because I would have to like
I
I
inherited
would
that
leave it to
panic state.
Tom, and then I was
believe
like,
it.
He still has a
okay,
little bit at
it's
night.
like 12:30 and the show hasn't gone up yet. Did Tom know how to do it properly? Did he get the file uploaded? Is it working? And it was a little. I'm still very type A like that about even the shows we do now to this day.
So we should check in on the origin story because I'm sure it changes over time as all of us forget things that happen.
It was my idea.
Yeah, as I remember it, there was like lots of different people suddenly going podcasting. Podcasting's
so,
a thing.
yeah.
And
Yeah, so
I was,
at what point because obviously with episode 1, was it podcast of indeterminate length? And if so,
no.
no, it wasn't. Okay.
No, that was
So
a
then
joke.
was
It was
podcast,
give us 5 minutes.
was podcast a word at that point?
Podcasting was a word.
Oh, yeah,
and it
definitely.
had
Okay.
become the hot new thing. It was
Okay.
as if someone. It was
But it
as
was
if,
the early stage of the
Oh, very early, and it was kind of people were getting like the sort of GM and the editorial leadership at CNET was starting to get this vibe like this is the cool new thing. It was like as if you were going to do blogging, or we should be using Vine for our media distribution, right? And then it became you should do this podcast, and it was really, and in fact we just like 3 minutes ago started chewing on.
that was the sound of history.
Right there. But just a few minutes ago, got a like on a photo that Veronica posted from Candice Myers, who was then the general manager at CNET. Like she was the GM overall of the business and editorial side, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Like it's had a number of editorial.
Yeah, I don't remember the
structures.
exact title, but it was
But
that.
whatever.
Yeah.
And she said we need to like do this podcasting dealio.
Well, James, Kim, and I had been talking like, have you seen this podcasting? Remember this? We should do podcasts. And James was like, I want to do like something about MP3 players and stuff. And I'm like, that's great. I'm like, I want to do just like a tech talk thing. And then we were talking to Mark Larkin,
Right.
who was like, well, yeah, I mean, because Candy has been talking about podcasting,
Right.
and we should do podcasting. And I think it was Mark with you who had the idea of taking what was already being recorded, which was the video Buzz Report.
Yep.
And saying, well, we should do an audio podcast.
With the two of us, because Mark thought that we seemed to have really funny lunch conversations.
yeah.
I didn't know
that is
that. I never
literally-
knew that was
That's
why.
like how it started. And
That's great.
Tom, and I don't even know if you guys realize this, Tom was my boss when we started doing Buzz Out Loud.
I have some of your old reports.
Power struggle.
You're still waiting on a reply to that one email.
I was terrible at my TP reports or whatever. He's looking, Mollywood performance, yeah, that's hilarious. Hilarious. But we
we go.
I mean, we hadn't been
2005.
working together that long, and we'd go to these lunches, and we would just be like, gab, gab, gab. Oh, shut the front door, you actually do.
I do.
We don't need to see that.
It's really good.
It's fine. Anyway, those days are over now.
Well, so do you remember the big round table? I don't remember the name of the conference room, but it was one with the big round table where we went and we sat down, and it was Patrick Houston, Candy Myers, Mark Larkin, James Kim, me, you, and Mark pitched. They're like, I want Molly to do an audio podcast, but with audio, you need more than one voice. And then he made the Tom and Molly seem to be funny, talking to each other.
They have good lunch conversation.
And so we did, was it 2 before we actually published or 3? Where we recorded them, we posted them to a Dropbox, Candy and Patrick would review them, and then talk with me and Mark and you, and Candy would say, Tom, you need to let Molly talk more. Oh. Not kidding.
That's so true. Choking down the memory. Yeah, that happens.
And then
Amazing.
and then we would go back and try it again, and then finally March 30th was the day we're like, no, I think that's good. Let's go with this. Let's put it out there and see what people think.
And we were gonna do once a week? We were gonna do 5 minutes once a week. Isn't that adorable?
Yeah, doing it.
And then maybe we're gonna do. Do you have it?
Yeah, I have that one here.
This is gonna
People
be
will totally
deeply
remember to
embarrassing.
tune in one time for
One
5
time
minutes
for
every
Yeah,
single
yeah.
week.
Totally.
Totally.
Well, and we were doing it. We were
magically
doing it
appear
on our
Zune.
We were doing it on our lunch hour at a
Yeah, we did it at lunch.
Yeah.
That lunch
At
conversation
12.
became our bane because then for the next 6 freaking years we did that stupid show at noon. Why would we do a show at noon? I was always all hungry and mad.
Can we hear the laptop? Oh, sorry.
So we're working on audio for that.
Tom,
But yeah,
I
it
think
was.
that's the real deal.
There we go.
If you give us about 10 minutes every week or so, we're going to give you our take on what's happening in tech news this week.
Hey, what are we going to talk about this week?
Well, I'm going to start with Comdex, actually.
Do you like-
and then,
I'm gonna
give
start
us
with
a little time to talk.
Give us 10 minutes or so. Every week or so.
Or so.
We don't really want to commit yet.
Give us about 10 minutes every week-ish, and then we'll do this, and then it just ballooned.
Yeah.
It ballooned, if I recall, pretty quickly. It went from once a week to, then we were like, we should do this twice a week and 3 times. But then we were like, well, we don't want it to get out of hand. 10 minutes 3 times a week is kind of a commitment.
Yeah.
You can see a recurring pattern
At this
here.
point, was CNET considering this oh yeah, this is definitely a part of your job, or was it just still kind of experimentation?
Lunch
Depend
hour
on who you ask.
for so
Yeah.
long.
For
Yeah.
Mark Larkin, it was part of our job.
Yes.
For Patrick Houston, it was well, Tom, if you've got too much to do, maybe you should drop that podcast thing. Another literal quote that I've never let Patrick
An
forget.
actual quote. I know, somewhere he's on Facebook right now.
Stop saying that.
Stop saying
I mean,
that. Stop being
I
the
should
podcast
hasten.
killer.
I should hasten to add that Patrick was very supportive all the time. But there was a conversation where I was like, we have all these disparate things, workload, and he's like, well, that podcast thing, because it was really early. Nobody knew what it was going to turn into.
Yeah, it got out of control. I remember very specifically getting notes from Brian Cooley, who then ran radio
He had run
at CNET.
We were
He had run
crashing
CNET
in the
radio.
CNET radio abandoned studio.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which then became the Buzz Out Loud studio. But he gave us notes on the podcast you guys should probably, the notes were basically make it radio. The notes were you should intro the topics at the top of the show, and then you'll probably want to do a reminder of what's happening in the show. He gave these and I just remember Tom and I just being yeah, we're not going to do that.
The one thing he
not
did
really what this
say
is.
was he was have a perspective. Don't try to
Yes.
be neutral.
That's true.
And we did take that into account.
Which I think is still good advice for you, Tom Merritt.
I don't know. It might be.
It's okay. You're a smart
There's an
guy.
upside and a
We
downside
care
to
what
that.
you think. We don't want to rush in to 12 minutes.
Let's evaluate the debate. No, and I actually still take what we learned from that experience of starting Buzz Out Loud to heart in every project I do, which was looking at what the audience, as small as it was in the early days, what they liked. And we got to the point it was 40 minutes, we got the first email that was it's too long,
Yep.
and we're we found our spot.
Just stopped.
Yeah.
I think 39 and a half minutes was the sweet spot. And I have to say, all credit to Tom Merritt, because you understood immediately. Tom understood immediately that the heart of that show was going to be the people who listened to it. And you were in the forums from the get-go, pushing the interaction with the audience. And I had been raised in the total journalism ivory tower. My first journalism job was a wire service. You can't get less accountable than that. They don't even know your name. And Tom was you have to be in the forums. We have to let the audience have this input. And I'm not gonna lie, it was early and I was resistant. I was I don't know if we need to talk to everybody. And then it just became this amazing snowball, one of the best examples of community building I've ever seen, because then you realize that when you start engaging with an audience as smart and interested as a tech audience and as the Buzz Out Loud audience, they become like your friends. We have, I mean, part of the legacy is that I feel that I have lifelong friends out of the Buzz Out Loud
There are
experience,
plenty of
and it's
people
true.
that I know and I work with and I have on DTNS that I forget I met as when they were listeners.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, totally.
To, yeah.
A lot of them.
And it's a long list.
lot.
Isn't
Yeah,
it?
it is.
I know,
I've been
it's
telling this
amazing.
story a lot recently, but Veronica used to bring us, used to forward the voicemails to us in our voicemail box. Molly and I would listen to them, and we'd write on Post-it notes which people we wanted to have in the show. Do you remember we'd like come in and hand you a Post-it?
Here's our Post-it.
Yeah, put this person's voicemail in. We wouldn't hear it during the show because we
That's right.
couldn't play
That's
it back.
right.
Yeah.
Yes.
That came later.
But
And so we'd have to fake react. Oh
Yeah.
my God, I had forgotten all about. We had to fake react to the we
Remember
played
what
them
we had
before the
heard,
show.
yeah.
Oh my God.
Remember
So
what
you
we
played
heard.
it back, and it was played to the recording, but you couldn't actually hear it.
I would
It was
edit them
playing
in.
back.
Yeah, we had it set up so that we could record the voicemails into the system. I can't even remember what that editing platform.
Burley.
Oh, Burley.
So we
That
was
just
like
gave me a
old
shudder, and I didn't even
school-
do their job.
It was like an old school like broadcasting editing
Yeah.
system. It was like not Pro Tools. It was
wasn't
not
bad, it
Audacity.
just wasn't
Are you
great.
kidding me? But
It was serviceable, I suppose.
it did work, and so we would record the voicemails into, I think we could patch the phone system into the editing software, but we didn't have the ability to play it live at the same time, so I had to do that all in post-production. So we had to fake react. I think we would take like little
That's so
notes and
funny.
be
I
like,
didn't
this was
realize
about
that.
this, react
if
this
you
way.
listen, I mean, if you listen carefully to some of those early episodes, you can tell that we are straight up like, yes,
that is a very good
true.
point, Scott.
And he
in
is
Salt Lake.
hilarious. Was he the hilarious one?
What did he say?
I mean, it's amazing. It is. But then the
was that about again?
voicemail thing, and what a low tech level of interactivity. But
Yeah.
it became because it was people's voices. Like
Yeah.
this is the magic of audio, right?
And
It's
we
so
never,
personal.
well, at
and we
least
got
while
to
I
know
was
them.
there, we never had a dedicated voicemail box. It was just my phone line for like
Oh,
a
that's
really long
right.
time.
That's where Hey It's Naomi
So
came from.
yeah, and so we have this old joke because my best friend used to call like to see if I wanted to get lunch. Be like, "Hey, it's Naomi," blah blah blah, and so they would be listening to the voicemails. Who is Naomi? Why does she keep
Well,
calling?
you were on
She just
vacation,
keeps-
and we
when you
didn't
were
know
on
if it was
vacation.
important,
Right.
but we also didn't want to listen to it. So it was always we'd listen and go, "Hey, it's Naomi."
Skip.
Skip. Don't need to know. Don't need to
We'd
know.
be in Tom's office like, "Hey, it's me, Skip." Yeah, and she was your bestie. She called a lot.
Yeah, she called a lot.
Well, on the line from New York City is Ms. Natalie Morris, who, AKA Natalie Del Conte, in the
Yep.
past.
Remember that?
This is appropriate, Natalie.
Yeah.
You're calling from New York,
I'm
just
Natalie
like on the
Del
show.
Conte. I was prepared to say it.
Yes. Wait, do it. Back up.
It still rolls out the tongue.
Calling from New York, like she did. Exactly.
Right. Except now I'm in the New Jersey suburbs, which is a little bit.
New York-ish.
Man, this sounds horrible. Like married lady in the suburbs. I used to be like cool single lady in the city.
It was a little 10 years later. Yep.
Yeah. It's not even been that long. I was on halfway through.
Yeah, I know, right.
I was trying to remember that big party we had. Was it our 500th episode or
500.
1000th episode? The one that was in San Francisco?
Yeah,
at the
1000.
CNET studio, that was
Oh,
1,000.
that was
Yeah.
1,000.
Yeah,
So
the
what
one
did
where we
do
were
for
running
500?
from the audio
We had a
studio
logo.
into the video studio.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
We had everybody run this lap. Us. We got in there all like sweaty because we started.
Oh,
in
that's
the,
right. We did that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That
Yeah,
was
and
great.
Tom convinced CNET to, like, they put a lot of money into a party even. We had
Yep.
a big food party. Hang on. Hey, bud, go ask Daddy, okay?
10 years later.
And perfect.
Oh, okay. Well, Daddy's gonna make, say hi. Say
Hi.
hi. Daddy will make the hot chocolate, okay? Daddy's gonna have to do
Oh, now we need a puppy. It's
She
not,
has to make hot chocolate
Natalie,
for everyone
it's
if
not
she
as
does
good
that.
unless
so.
you make
Natalie,
it.
can I have some hot chocolate too?
I want Natalie's hot chocolate to become a meme. It's obvious.
it.
We have something for you to put into it too.
Amazing.
It's not the, you're right, it's not the same unless Mommy does it.
No, it's
Mommy
totally
uses
not,
the double boiler,
clearly.
he uses the powder.
Oh, well.
Big difference,
I
big
totally
difference.
understand
So
now.
what were we talking about? Speaking of parties and
We were
fun
talking
things.
about how have things changed since Buzz Out Loud.
I was able to do a podcast.
So what are you up to these days?
Yeah, what
Natalie?
else are you up to?
Besides working for these crazies, Elsa just came in too. Yeah, I work freelance now. I'm at NBC. know you do.
I know you do. Oh, believe me, honey. I know.
Been
Like,
there.
that is it.
Well, while
Yeah,
Natalie
that could
corrals
not
her
be
children, she'll come back, I'm
She'll be
sure.
back.
Let's call up Mr. Rafe Needleman to join us as well. Rafe, of course, I'll spoil your story, is at Yahoo Tech now. But Rafe was a fill-in co-host, a once-a-week co-host, a regular daily co-host on the show. So,
Yep.
how's it going, man?
Here's a karma picture. Yay! All right, when is Yahoo going to get podcasts?
As soon as I can possibly get to it. Yeah.
I mean, come on.
I know, right?
Yes.
Because so the thing about Yahoo that's so weird and says that we have to do podcasts is I've never worked for an audience this gargantuan.
Right.
It's like everybody, except people in San Francisco and New York. But it's
Right.
like
Everybody else, which turns out is a lot, even though people in San Francisco and New York don't think so.
It's Real America's homepage.
it kind of is.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like I have a real sense of
Natalie's back.
of
Hey, Nat.
what the real world wants as opposed to what we want
Yeah.
and what they're interested in.
Well, it's just so unbelievable now because podcasting
It's really
is
weird,
like,
yeah.
it is mainstream. It is
Yeah.
here, every, like public radio has become, and I mean, you increasingly, now that you work in public radio, I mean, it's
Almost.
like,
Yeah, just about.
It's
Yep, days away. like
it's incredible because now, with This American Life, which has been around for, almost as long, the show has been around forever, but in
Yeah.
podcast form has been huge. Shows like Serial, things like every public radio station has their stuff on podcast form now.
Right.
And it's like really the new radio.
I actually feel like public radio is trying to lay claim to podcasting in a way that makes me
Yeah.
want to start like a BOL hashtag,
I've had
We were
that
here
same
first.
conversation with someone.
Really?
The original
Yeah.
serials, that's what you want to say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. We had some serial moments in Buzz Out Loud, I have to
Yeah.
admit. It wasn't always like, getting the band back together is awesome because we can be like, live and let live, y'all. Live and let live. But doing a daily show with people, like,
Oh, yeah.
we
It
was
all
intense.
fought like cats and dogs occasionally. It was intense.
Sometimes like both at once.
I don't remember
Sometimes
anything
both
like
at once,
that.
yeah. I think dogs are fighting now on the other side of the wall.
Yeah, you
Just
probably
thinking
can't hear
about
it,
it.
but-
Rafe's like,
yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about. It never happened.
No. It was great. It's all smooth sailing.
Natalie doesn't remember anything about that.
Natalie, it was so great to see her.
Yes.
Hi, Natalie.
She's all, oh, hell yeah, I came back
I'm
right
back.
now. For the date.
Yeah, I remember I was thinking about this as I was getting ready for the show, that one of the times that I really got upset with Brian and Tom, and then like a week later I found out I was pregnant. And I still feel bad about the way that I sort of snapped at them, but then I wrote Tom an email. I'm like, sorry about this, I'm pregnant. I'm on the hormones.
I really wish
think
I had had
still
that
deserved
excuse.
it, frankly.
I mean, I do.
Yeah,
I
still
briefly
felt
had that excuse.
pretty passionately about, like, I remember the content of the argument, but I also just felt like I wasn't kind about it. And when you sort of step back from your daily work environment, now I work freelance, and I wonder a lot, like, who was I back then? Because it feels like it was a long time ago. And I was like, what? I think about this all the time. Was I kind to people? Was I ethical? You sort of look back and wonder, like, what did I project to the world? And then I go back and listen to the shows. I'm like, I think I did a pretty good job. I wasn't mean to people. I wasn't. But that one thing still bothers my conscience. So
Oh, you
we'll
are
blame the
forgiven.
hormones.
I don't even remember.
These two
I don't know
used to
about
fight
Kool-Aid.
like freaking cats and dogs on the show, and like when they would get into it about an like
that was
a certain
magical.
topic. But that's what made it so good,
Right,
Because
that
it
was,
was
that
funny
was
though.
the magic sauce.
It
was
became
the realism,
this trap.
yeah.
It became this trap because the audience loved the conflict. Like they loved when we would go at it, but we were like work spouses.
But you want to enjoy, you
and
want
it
to
gets,
enjoy the
yeah,
experience
exactly. You're like,
too.
I don't
It's
want
like-
to fight all the time, and then the show.
particularly-
Yeah.
There would be times when we would have a big fight on the show, and then afterwards we'd look at each other like, it's so great that we can just leave this behind.
Yeah.
And then later
Most
we'd have
of
a
the
fight
time.
on the show, and we'd not speak to you.
Right, like 3 years later, then I would just like stalk silently past Tom's office, like dead to me.
But it also set me up for, sometimes for not so much success, because then when I stepped in after, people were like, that's not a Molly rant, and why do you agree with him? And, I couldn't like duplicate it, and it was really hard. And then maybe I found my way, or my hormones found my way to disagree with Tom.
Yes.
I learned a lot about ranting from Molly. Yeah, thank you for that. No, it set me up pretty well, actually.
Actually, you can lay down a rant.
Thank you.
The Ray Frant is legit.
Yeah, I know,
Like-
because I remember the.
Yeah, it works too. It super pisses you off.
Yeah.
Like it works.
But it was fun getting to break up the fight. That was my favorite part of just interjecting with like a loud monkey sound or something. Because I was like, I don't know what else to do.
You can still do it.
That was really good.
Yeah, we did a lot of barnyard sounds.
Yeah, we
I'm
did
not
a
sure
lot of
why.
we would literally like compare barnyard sounds.
Yeah, on the show. That was what was
Yeah.
fun though, because we got to, we got really deep into the tech talk and really like very analytical, and then it would turn into like also we're friends having fun, and we love doing this, and we love like having conversations with each other and dealing with the fans and being a community, and that's what really
That's what
made it
people
special.
connect with.
Right,
the
think so,
most.
right.
That's what's the beauty about kind of podcast in general, is that it could be just two people sitting around a microphone talking about something they're passionate about, but the audience ends up connecting with the people as
The
much as the
personalities,
content.
yeah.
And what was beautiful about Buzz Out Loud, and we've kind of already talked about it a little bit, is the fact that we were able to bring the fans into the show meant that there was kind of a little give and take as far as that was concerned. It wasn't just always us talking and you know us because you listen to our show. It was, oh, hey, that's what Dr. Carl, or that's what Shalene sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a really cool kind
Did you
of
meet
opposite
Buzz Out
side.
Louders? Like, are you in contact with anybody from the show?
Not so much
Yeah.
these days. No, right now I'm just so underground, just
You're in
editing.
you're in
Well,
the real world.
yeah.
I know,
What's
yeah.
great is that like
Fascinating.
now we have all these other platforms, between Diamond Club and Twit and Hack 5 and Frog Pants and everything. Just like there's so many former Buzz Out Louders in all these communities that like it feels like the family, instead of breaking apart when the show went away, just grew and expanded and like spread out onto all these other shows and communities and chat rooms. And I mean, we're still in the same chat room with all the people that we were when we were in the Buzz Out Loud IRC, and it's like it's incredible.
I
No,
popped
it's
in, there's
amazing
like
to see people.
900
Yeah.
people in the chat room.
Yeah.
It's like, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, and
we
that's
should
just
obsess on
the
that chat room
Diamond
number,
Club
too.
chat room. We've
Oh, I
got
know.
the
We would tell, we would
Chat
report it
room.
to Mark Larkin. We would be
They're
like,
both
there were
going.
300 people in chat today, Mark Larkin. He would be like, yes.
That was our proxy ratings. Was the total chat
The
room
number, yeah.
And I learned when you were saying very nice things about me earlier
All true.
about community. I learned that at Tech TV, working on the screensavers and call
Drink.
for help. It's you have to drink. Too.
Oh, I have to drink too. We all have to drink.
Drink again. We missed
I don't need
it.
any reason to drink.
Yeah.
I'll drink this. You don't need to see it.
And so when I was at Buzz Out Loud and we were talking to people and people were responding, and even before the chat room, but especially once the chat room kicked in, I'm like, I never thought we would get that special relationship with an audience again.
Yep.
And we did, and it's amazing. I was like, well, now that Buzz Out Loud is gone, we'll never get that relationship with the audience again. And,
Yeah.
and not only does Twit have that relationship with its audience, but Diamond Club
Sword and Laser,
Sword and Laser
of course,
and Hack 5 and
It's a model.
like
Yeah,
I'm
it's
only
totally
naming
a
the
model.
people I
It's
can
a model.
see and
Yeah.
view right now. Like, yeah.
And it doesn't have to be like a scalable model or anything like that. It's just a model that totally works when you're a real human and you have real human conversations with the people who like what you're doing. And
Yeah.
and then those people become not just your friends, but your internet army that will never let you go.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, it's indicative of what you see a lot on the internet right now, I feel like, between crowdfunding and all these other things, is that you don't need millions and billions of people to understand or appreciate what you do. What you need is a couple of thousand that are super hyper connected.
Right,
to it.
Yeah.
right.
And that builds just as much satisfaction on the other side, right? Like you're creating for a couple of thousand people that really connect with it.
Mm-hmm.
You know that appreciation is of a level higher and definitely more achievable
Yep.
if you're doing it right.
And
than
it's so satisfying.
millions and billions of listeners.
I feel like I'm perennially letting them down, actually. Like I tweeted that I was going to the New York Times and all these people were like, no, just
Where's
do
their-
Buzz- like why
they
are you
don't have a
doing Buzz
chat
Out
room?
Loud? Right, like you should, I was hoping that you were going to say you were going to do Buzz Out Loud again and I was like, I get it, I kind
Right.
of get it.
Yeah.
But
Way
they're-
more fun than the New York Times.
But there's also those things that are a period in time, right?
Yeah,
and you
absolutely.
can't recapture all of the shows that we did at the thing I won't say because I don't want you to have to drink, or Buzz Out Loud. But what I will say,
ready.
all right, Tech TV, fine.
Oh, we're
Yes.
drinking whiskey
Do you
bourbons.
miss it?
I miss working with you guys, and
Yeah.
I miss Molly especially, because Tom and I do a show together, and it's, we don't really get to do much together anymore, and that sucks, but, it doesn't mean we can't. It's just, that's, life goes in different ways, but, I don't miss it because we are in so many different places and that community still exists in so many different ways. And I don't feel like that part of my life is gone. I feel like it's just grown and expanded. And now, as we've mentioned, the people that we used to know from the Buzz Out Loud chat room, like I know in person, or they come to Sword and Laser meetups, and we get to hang out at South by Southwest, at South by So Wasted. And it's fun. It's just a community that it's ever growing and changing. And I just love the fact that Scott Johnson, for example, was someone who used to call into the show.
Yeah.
And that's how we knew him.
SLC was
Those
Scott
post-it
from Utah.
notes
Yeah.
would say Scott at SLC, and we'd play his voicemail. He's actually on the line right now. Hi, Scott.
I did not even know that he was on the line. That is amazing.
What a pro.
You just say his name.
Scott from SLC.
But like with Scott, I was like, first of all, this guy's voice is amazing.
Amazing.
He's got like radio voice up the wazoo. And then I'm like, oh, and he plays World of Warcraft. And I was just getting into WoW at that time, back in 2006, I think it was. And I was like, oh, we've got something in common. Let's talk about that. And then I went on his show, and he came on Buzz Out Loud, and it was just like, that's how a friendship gets started, And
now he
I'm
has
so
a
grateful for
freaking
that.
media conglomerate.
Yeah, now he's a. I almost swore.
He's a frog-pantsing success.
Frog dancing success.
Well, it was on this show, your 1000th episode, that I did the scariest thing I've ever done in my life, which was get on the air in front of all of you and everybody who was listening and announce that I was going to go full time with this stuff. And still to this day, I get butterflies thinking about how I felt that day. But that was such a cool opportunity to come on a show that had such great symbiosis with what I was doing. In fact, I remember conversations with Veronica back in the day where it would be like, I really like what you guys do with calls. I'm going to steal that. And she'd say, cool, because I'm going to steal your idea for playing excess calls at the end of the show the way you do. And we'd have these conversations that just sort of molded what I did and maybe molded some of the things she was doing on a production side. And then we were playing WoW together. Then I met Tom. Then I met everybody. And it's like the only person I haven't been able to shake hands with is Molly. One day that'll happen.
What the hell?
You
I don't
guys are both,
understand.
you're too tall.
Like we passed in the night or something. It's like we're always at the wrong
We gotta
event.
get Molly to Nerdtacular, right?
Yes, that's a great
Yes,
idea, actually.
okay.
Get
Yep.
you up there.
Oh,
That'd be
which
perfect.
reminds me, a lot of people were asking if this was going to be Spectacle Fest. Spectacle Fest is next
Next
year.
year. Next year.
Yeah.
Next year.
Sorry.
It's
It's
the planning.
postponed.
The planning is really coming along.
Yeah.
I feel really positive that this is going to be the year that we get Spectacle Fest.
gonna be
so
huge.
just stay
It's gonna be
tuned.
huge.
Stay
Yes.
tuned. Buy your
Yeah.
tickets now.
Be
I'll
there
set up a
next year.
PayPal account.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just send me your money.
We have a sign, actually, just in case you were wondering.
Have you
We can't-
kickstarted Spectacle Fest yet?
Huh?
Have you kickstarted Spectacle Fest?
Oh, maybe
Thank
that's
you.
what we need to do.
Well, you know
Kickstarter.
what? We should start a Kickstarter for
Postpone.
Spectacle Fest next year.
Because then you have to do it.
Yeah.
No, we
Darren made a sign.
Put this
start a
in front
Kickstarter
here.
for Spectacle Fest. We only need, what, $10 million? We
There you go.
Yeah,
can hit
yeah.
that,
We
right?
can hit
In
that.
30 days, we
Yeah.
can hit $10 million.
Sure.
For
That
next
stupid
year.
watch got $10 million.
Is that cooler?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right?
I need that cooler.
Potato salad.
I'm off the rails.
Oh my God.
Isn't there a tangent drinking game? I don't
Well,
know.
here,
Anyway,
let's
Scott,
play
it's
a
gonna
clip
Uh-oh.
because I had this at the
podcasts
ready.
that are super successful.
And why aren't you
Well,
working
here-
right now?
Here is the fun part of today's show, and this is I didn't really expect to do this, but I have an announcement to make. The date, starting Monday, that is all changed. I am full-time podcaster, cartoonist, artist.
He's sticking it
all
to
that
the
stuff.
man.
Oh, look at him. He's like, no way, that totally happened.
That is fantastic, my man. Congratulations.
That's so weird to hear that.
Excited?
That's amazing.
Wait, is that my voice?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's the 1000th episode.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was the weirdest day. Ooh, to hear that's kind of thrown me back a little bit. It just feels so strange to hear that. And by then, we'd all kind of started some of these relationships, but it's just a nice reminder. I mean, that was a major moment, one of the big moments in my life. There's marriage, there's kids, and then there was that for me, to announce that, to let people know what I was doing, making this huge life shift, and to do it with people I consider more than friends. You guys are like my family now. Veronica's my irritating little sister, and Tom,
I love you too, Scott. I love you too.
Tom is like that weird brother I never had that would enjoy the same nerdy crap I do, and Molly's that person I never could quite meet in the hallway.
I'm coming to Nerdtech.
The metaphors are stretching.
It's
Yeah.
happening. I know, totally.
You know, Jason was nice to me because it was like finally a guy who understands what it's like to be the tallest guy in the room all the time. And This kind of stuff means a lot, but it means so much to have that moment, and I have not heard it since then. So that threw me off a little bit to hear that. Wow.
Oh, getting verklempt.
That's
Well,
good.
Misty, is there a little dust in the air right now?
Yeah. We turn on the vent, Darren. We got a little dust in here.
Little dust, little dust.
Well, here, let me break up the tension then.
So much rage. Just a little ball of rage.
The Molly Rant theme had its pluses and its minuses. Its plus was that you knew when it needed to be played because you were on a tear and everybody knew it.
Yeah.
And that was the special moment.
Yeah.
The downside was if I chose to play it, it was over.
The
It
rant
like
was over.
diffused
The rant was
it.
over. It like
Yeah.
diffused it.
It
was
like
like-
it was
a
the
rant
wind out
under.
of the sails.
It was
So
like
I had to
rant
really
raid.
wait
Yeah.
for the right moment to play that.
It was a timing thing. It was
Yes.
like raid.
Until she takes a breath.
Raid
Yes.
for rants. That's true, actually. My face is starting to turn purple, and it looks as though I might die. Like, play the song.
About to pass out. Play it quick.
And the chat room would be begging for it. You
Oh,
could see them coming to a crescendo. Like, come on, Jason, are you listening to this?
Play
us
the
the jingle.
thing and to make it stop.
You know, one of the reasons I think we had the best chat room in the business, the smartest audiences in the business, is because we had such a great community. And one of the people who made sure that chat room ran well was Jeannie, who
Jeannie.
I still, she would preternaturally say hi to me when I logged into the chat room before the login script was done. It was incredible.
It's incredible.
We have a voicemail from Jeannie. Shall we listen?
And she never did this, by the way.
Never left
I mean,
voicemails.
she did what we're about to play, but she's never done it before.
Right, yes.
Hi, Jimoto and V. This is Jeannie from the chat room. I kind of followed that Scott from SLC dude over to Frog Pants and the Tadpole when the morning stream started. This voicemail is not of indeterminate length. It ends right here. Have a great 10th anniversary.
Yay!
Hi, Jeannie. That is pretty historic. Isn't that's our first ever Jeannie voicemail?
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I'll have you guys know she does the most amazing job still in our little tadpole chat room every morning. She keeps everybody straight and is a star in there. And Tom does the same thing to me every morning. As soon as I log in, message from Jeannie. I don't know how she's doing it, but thanks for letting me steal her, I guess. It wasn't on purpose.
No.
She's in the Matrix.
Yeah.
She's built in.
That's what we were always trying to figure out. Like, is it a script that she's saying thank
No,
you to me?
I asked her
But
about it. She's like, no, I just
she's
see you
on
and
it.
type. That's all.
She must just have it all typed in, and just like all I have to do is hit enter.
If you can show my screen now, by the way, PB30, who was the creator of the Buzz Out Loud chat room, sent me this screenshot today. It is a screen capture of Jeannie logging into the chat room for the first time.
Oh my goodness.
How on the earth did what?
Jeannie.
And,
Yeah,
then,
how
and
do
then
you
she
have
fainted.
that?
She fainted repeatedly.
She fainted so many times.
That's amazing.
I'm not gonna lie, I thought it said farts for just like a second.
He
I
said,
blame
Slash
Tom
farts.
saying Tech TV so many times.
Clearly the most important moment in CNET fans' history,
Yay.
says PB30.
I think that is absolutely true.
Thanks for sending that PB30 too.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
The greatest thing was to get people to sort of be part of this or contribute clips or send voicemails or whatever. I mean, again, all we had to do was go to the places where we always go, Facebook and Twitter. And
Well,
I want you to know I've been hounding Fordo.
The wiki was really well maintained by our
amazing.
fans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like it's important to state this here. How important community ended up being for you guys and for me. It's honestly it's everything. It is the fuel that drives the engine. And I'm not sure I knew that until Buzz Out Loud started showing daily examples of it. So you'd see it every day. Yeah, well, that's interesting. We could integrate that. It's not so much, we don't have to go down this path of old media and go, all right, well, look, if you're going to participate in the thing, we got to sign 20 waivers and everybody's got to give up their life to even get on the thing. Instead, it's just this big, open, very friendly, awesome kind of community effort. And I'm not sure people had seen that in the way that it worked on Buzz Out Loud until you guys did it. So I think you deserve some credit for that.
It was the transparency of the audience, I think, too. Like having them really be a part of the show and talking about them. They became like, they were celebrities in the community. They were celebrities to us.
Gosh, yeah.
Oh,
Like we
absolutely.
still
They'd be
talk
like,
about.
Tails!
Yeah, you would meet somebody in person and you'd be excited to
Right.
like, and this actually happened to me with Preston, who's sitting right over there at the Hack 5 thing in December. He walked up and introduced himself as Preston, and I was like, oh, it's nice to meet you, perfectly friendly. He's like, oh, I'm BioCow in the chat room. And I was like, oh, now I got really excited. Like, I know who you are. This is awesome. And I love that that's the way it works. It's not just about the hosts. The hosts have their job to direct the conversation and create the environment, but we can allow everybody to participate.
I mean, honestly, is this a first in the internet? Did we ever even have a troll?
Oh,
A
yes.
troll?
Oh, sure.
Yeah. There
Well,
were
we
some
had some
forum
in the
trolls.
forums.
In the
There were
forums.
forum trolls, but
we
I-
didn't get anyone who called in and was like regularly a
I
jerk.
don't think Jeannie would allow that.
No.
Yeah, Jeannie was not having it.
People would
she
try,
runs a tight
and they would
ship.
get shut down.
Yeah.
And not just by Jeannie. Jeannie ran the tight ship, but she had lieutenants.
Oh, absolutely. ICOR.
There was a swarm. Yeah.
The worst thing we had
ICOR
were
always came up with the titles.
we did have a name for people who called in to correct us on stuff, which was always fun.
Oh, yes.
Well, actually.
Well, actually.
Guys.
Well, actually, guys.
Well, actually.
One kid in particular started the well, actually, which became like the lifelong name
Alex
of the
Brewer.
show. Alex
Yeah,
Brewer.
Alex
bless his heart.
Brewer. Yep.
And where did Love the Show come
Well, actually. Well, actually, guys. What
What,
did what
Natalie?
come from?
from? Where did Love the Show come from? I don't think I ever knew that.
Everybody.
It was totally organic, like it
emergent
just happened in every
property
email.
that at some point I
Love
think
the
it was
show.
we started noticing like people would rip
voice
us
notes.
about something in an email. Like you guys
Right.
are totally wrong. You missed the point. You don't understand Nokia. Love the show.
Mark
Thanks,
Larkin
guys.
just got
Mark
here.
Larkin's here.
Come here.
We'll get him.
He Mark Larkin's here. Find him. He's in the back.
He never wanted to be
trying
on
to hide. He would
microphone
never
or
be
on
on-
camera.
no.
We could not drag
Like
him
he's
on
not
for Life
coming
of
out.
Us. Yeah,
He's the
so-
invisible producer.
The invisible
He's
man.
the reason for the season, right there. Mark Larkin is also the person who forced me to do the Buzz Report, which I think predated Buzz Out Loud by like a couple weeks or
month,
something, right?
maybe?
A month,
2
maybe?
Month,
Yeah.
yeah. Maybe 6 weeks.
So
And Mark-
really, it's
yeah.
all his fault.
Mark Larkin is the reason I do video at all. He
Yep.
was like, hey,
Me too.
you want to try this? Write a script, do it, and then edit it afterwards.
Mark,
You can learn everything and
next
then do it
week.
again better next
He's got a
time.
lot meaner after.
Mark's the reason I didn't quit CNET and go to ZDNet.
Really?
Or Ziff Davis, not ZDNet, but Ziff Davis. I had quit in like September, I think, of 2005.
Yeah.
Before we were even off the ground. And Candy Myers particularly was like, no, you are not leaving.
Yep.
And one of the things I said was, well, if I can go work in the TV stuff
TV
and
side.
do that, then that'll convince me. And Mark thankfully let that happen. So,
It is a legacy of defection.
yeah.
We all
Mark
we
moved
did. We
me
just
to New
loved it.
York, actually. He
Yeah?
found me in San Francisco and was like, we want you, but in New York. So I went, and then I think it was like 3 months later, I was like, I hate it here, I'm coming back. And he was like, okay for that too. And then that didn't happen.
Now Mark, you missed it. Natalie got on the line, and all 3 children swarmed into the room and were like, "We need hot chocolate." And we were like, "Yep, 10 years later."
But for the record, I have two.
Oh, you have 2.
Yeah.
Was there like
There was a
an
spare
extra?
running around.
There was a spare. It was the neighbor boy.
Oh,
The
okay.
neighbor
I
boy.
actually I'm glad you said that because I was like, how did I
I'm like,
miss?
did she have 3?
I literally was like, how did I miss Natalie's 3rd baby? I'm such a jerk. Like, I have not been paying
Natalie
attention to
doesn't do that much
Facebook.
these days except procreate.
I have kind of a funny story about Rafe, and Rafe, you don't even know about this. So
Okay, but before you tell your story, I
excellent.
actually am gonna get to the 3 children. Actually, they're 4
Oh,
in
okay,
my house.
Natalie.
The hot chocolate.
2
Okay.
from my loins. Yeah, but thank you so much for inviting me, you guys. It was really great to see your e-faces and
Yes, you
hear your
too.
voices. And
You too. Yay, Natalie.
if you asked me the question, do I miss it? I do. I miss you guys a lot, and I felt like I was really a part of something that I was proud of, and that's just one of the proudest bullet points on my resume is being a co-host of Buzz Out Loud. So
Fantastic.
I love you guys. Have a wonderful
Mwah.
Sunday.
Miss you.
See you next year at Spectacle Fest.
Yes.
I'm excited to hear the story.
I know.
from
Bring on the
Scott.
rave stories.
So here's the Needleman story. Veronica called me and said, "Hey, do you want to guest on the show?" I said, "Sure." Somebody was out of town or traveling. I think it was Molly, and said, "Come on, it'll be me and Tom and you and Rafe Needleman." And I said, oh, this is easy. I know Veronica. I know Tom. They're like, dorky friends. I'm not afraid of those two. But I'd seen Rafe Needleman on a TV in Costco while I was walking around at Costco. And I remember seeing him on this big, at the time, like 50-inch plasma going, that's like some superstar dude from CNET. And I've got to learn how to talk to this guy on the radio. I was completely freaked out, man. So just to let you know.
Okay, so first of all, that's a great story, although it's completely...
I know, it's not the right guy.
It's completely wrong. That wasn't me, that was Cooley.
That was totally Cooley, I know that.
We got mixed up for each other all the time.
That's the funnest part of the story, is I don't know this the entire time. I have YouTube mixed up.
Back in the day.
We get done with the show, and I'm still like, I'm a little shaky and nervous. I talked to the Costco guy, and somebody, I think Veronica later, cued me in and goes, that's not the same.
That was actually really cool. It was totally not that guy at all.
I'm nobody, I was just the guy on Buzz Out Loud. I wasn't even on Costco TV.
You're just nerve-wracking all on your own.
I played you on my TV that I bought at Costco, Rafe.
Thank you so much. When I did my last episode of Reporters Roundtable, I had Cooley across from me.
Yeah?
He was
Did you know
my
which
guest.
camera was which?
No, well, we changed glasses and it fell us apart.
And then the world exploded. I never even thought that you guys looked at all alike, but I can understand now, looking back, why people would have thought that, but that never even crossed my mind until just now.
Bless you.
So.
I never would have thought that either. Like, apparently a goatee is just a magical mask.
Yeah, it's like you turn invisible. You can be anyone.
That's
I've tried. I have tried. Thanks, Tom. Pointing out my shortcomings left and right.
We just go like this.
And I can't grow a
We have a
goatee.
few
It's a
cocktails.
horrible shortcut.
We try to push it out, and it doesn't
knew I
happen.
tried.
Yeah, just really want a goatee real bad.
We got some more listener voicemails. One of the constant callers in the early days was Chris the Podcaster, who does the Amateur Traveler podcast still to this day.
I ran into him on BART, like, I don't know, 2 months ago. Just comes up, hey, and I was like, you look super familiar, what is your deal? And he's like, I'm Chris the Podcaster. I'm like, oh my God, that's amazing. And he had recently won an award for the Amateur Traveler podcast. Like, he has really gone to the stars with that show.
And he said he wanted to be here, but he's traveling.
Right.
Obviously. So here we go.
This is Chris the Podcaster. What I've been up to since Buzz Out Loud, I'm still podcasting. Over 1,000 episodes of at least 3 different shows. Amateur Traveler actually won me an award last year from Travel and Leisure magazine as the best independent travel journalist, and I also won a Lowell Thomas Award from the Society of American Travel Writers. So apparently I'm not just a travel podcaster now, but I am a travel journalist. That, and I got invited to the White House. So life continues to be interesting.
Nice.
Sorry I'm not able to be there for the Buzz Out Loud reunion, but I'll be in Morocco leading a tour.
Morocco.
Bye-bye.
I'll be in Morocco. What a dream.
We never liked that guy. No.
He's all, here's my awards that I won, and I was at the White House, and now I'm in Morocco. Drop the mic. We're like, we do cool things also.
I work out of my basement.
Technically,
I got invited upstairs.
I got invited upstairs.
Tom, you can come out now.
So thanks for that, Chris.
No, that's
awesome.
No, he's amazing. I mean, that's amazing.
It's a great example of somebody who was starting out with podcasting at the same time as us, and we were trading insights and tips and stuff with. And, shall we keep going on this
keep
with
rolling.
Adam from Scotland?
Oh my gosh.
He's in the chat room right now.
Yeah.
He is in the chat room.
Yeah.
Hi, Buzztown. It's Adam in Scotland calling in for your reunion program. I really can't believe it's been 10 years. Just wanted to say hello to everyone. Still miss the chat room every day. And to really thank you all. 10 years down the line, or 9 years since I started listening, I seem to have ended up in a career that allows me to sit on those social networks we always used to discuss all day and somehow make a living out of it, and also do a bit of blogging and video production on the side, which I believe is probably your fault. Thanks for all the episodes, thanks for all the fun. You were a great community, and you still are. I still have some fabulous internet friends from it, and it's been a real pleasure. See you in another 10 years.
With the reverb and your accent, I didn't
understand
a word.
It's your fault. Not a word. So, yeah, right, totally. We got it's your fault out of that, and that's it.
So, Adam, if you could just transcribe that in the chat room.
That would be great. I know, we're totally, like, it's sort of playing to the audience, and then we get, anyway, that was kind of awesome.
Is that a Canadian accent, Dr. Carl?
Thanks, Dr. Carl. Oh, wait, let's do him next.
Oh, do we have a,
Can we skip down?
a Dr. Carl one in here?
We don't have to skip down. but been noticing him in the chat room.
Oh, I was like, do we have a Dr. Carl? We have a
Hey guys,
Carl the
it's
Med
Carl the
student.
Med student here, long-time listener and since caller. I'm calling in reference to episode 1. What the hell happened to Comdex? It is so not what it used to be, in that it doesn't exist anymore. I guess a lot can happen in 10 years, but what hasn't changed is how awesome you guys are. So, just to get profound here for a quick second, I'm pretty sure I've heard Tom's voice more than anyone else's in the past 10 years. And it's not because I'm some weirdo with no friends. I'm actually quite popular. It's just that, every business day except for opening day of the baseball season for 10 years is a long time. How crazy is that, right? There's no question that Buzz Out Loud has played a major role in who I am today, from specific things like how Holly and Hollyhock lit a fire in my ass to propose to my now wife and co-parental unit, or how we actually call our daughter Nubbin. To more subtle things like my sense of humor, my take on tech, or the fact that I still keep in touch with a handful of other denizens of Buzztown. You guys did this. So crazy. Speaking of, if you haven't already, definitely go check out the Buzztown Wiki. What an awesome time capsule it's become. Spectacular. Anyway, as a fan and a friend, it's been so awesome to watch everyone continue to just kick ass over the years, and I still love listening to you guys every week. Looking forward to checking out this marketplace thing as well. Very good. You guys rock. So I hope you have an awesome day today. Love the show. Keep up the good work.
Jeannie was leading a chant in the chat room. Dr.
She was?
Carl.
Dr. Carl. So Carl, for those of you who don't remember, Dr. Carl started calling us as Carl the Med student, then became Carl the resident.
Yeah.
Then became something even between that and then Carl the medical doctor,
maybe?
the internist. I mean, he went through this whole. And then very recently became Carl the dad.
Yeah.
I know. And he is one of the ones who I've had the pleasure of meeting several times in person. And it's just like, what a great human. Like, that is the overwhelming, I think, sense that we have about everybody that we meet from Buzz Out Loud. You feel like you're picking up a conversation that you've been having for almost 10 years now. Mm-hmm. And that they're all just totally great. You're just like, oh, you're awesome.
Fat emo kid, famous for saying mug every time a mug showed up on screen, lives not too far from us when we go and we get brunch.
They hang out all the time.
Hang out.
Totally.
We have the translation from Adam in Scotland.
Oh, good.
He says, but basically, I'm now a professional social media manager and do video production, which, if you hadn't tempted me on Twitter back in 2007-ish, would never have happened. So technically, my career is your fault. Thanks for the fun and the memories, and see you in another 10 years.
Aww.
That's awesome.
So that's what he said.
That's fantastic.
Aww.
And in a Scottish accent.
And in a Scottish accent to boot.
Yeah. We'll listen to it
Thank
again.
you for doing that. Yeah, Sorry, we couldn't hear you.
It's a very
Thanks for
echoey space.
transcribing. It's a little echoey.
All right. Another person, and I'm going to break a fairly long-standing rule of myself here when I introduce this next person, is that I was not going to tell this story ever again. Because I told it way more often than I needed to. But it was simply this. It's not very controversial. Nate Langston was a listener in the audience who won a backstage pass to CES. I'm going to try to sell it really short, Nate. And was so good on stage as a listener that he got offered a job at CNET UK, got that job, has parlayed that to then be editor of Wired, and now he's off doing brand new stuff, and he's on the line to tell us about it. Nate Langston!
Yay, Nate Langston!
And he's got his
Wow!
That might be the shirt we gave to him at CES.
Yes, it was.
Hello. Amazing.
How's it going, Nate?
It's good. That was a hell of an intro. Thank you very much.
Please. You're like our great
well
success.
deserved.
I actually sent him a birthday message that said, like, thanks for catching and surpassing us. He's crushed it.
Oh, yeah. I remember that. That was amazing. I was half drunk and sort of half in tears as well at that point. It was pretty amazing.
Things are going well for you. Tell people what you're doing now.
Well, at the moment now, I am head of digital editorial at Bloomberg for Europe, Middle East, and Africa. And I do a podcast now independently called Text Message, which was the name of the blog that I ran about 10 years ago that helped me actually get noticed by CNET and get on that panel. What was it called? I forget now.
It was the next big thing.
It was the next big thing panel.
And it was.
Yeah.
And you were the backstage pass winner.
There you go.
Yep.
Yeah, so I actually, it was really weird because that panel was never actually part of the competition. Like someone from CNET called me up and said, we've seen your blog, we like your stuff. Would you come on and be sort of a younger voice on this panel we're doing with Molly and Brian Cooley and some other things? I thought, that sounds like fun, yeah, sure thing. So I did that, and it was actually that, I think, that got me the next conversation for the come down to London to talk about that first job and whenever it was.
Because we also had you blog, the backstage pass winners also just, we put them to work. Like CNET was just shameless.
Oh, right, yeah.
We'll totally fly you to Vegas, and what you will do is provide us with free content.
You get the fun of working.
But so he blogged his face off on this panel, and I can't even remember, we had somebody from the industry on the panel, like a big name from a big company, and Nate just took him down. I mean, the kid was just unstoppable.
It was some kind of intellectual property.
He must have been
thing,
roughly
wasn't it?
14 years old,
He was
I
so
think,
young.
at the time.
I,
So young.
I was, I think, probably 19 or 20, I think, at the time.
Seriously, and
Wow.
just stood there, went after this guy on intellectual property and wasn't backing down. And I remember us just sitting back being like, well, dang, our work here is done. Like, this guy, like, he's wrapped up.
We're
It was
good.
amazing.
Things are good.
Yeah, that was pretty fun. I enjoyed that quite a lot. I think it was really weird because I was running this website for about 2 years while I was working as a teaching assistant with special needs kids in a local school. And I decided that since I basically gave up on the idea of doing anything properly with school because at the time it was just really disheartening to be mostly bored by things that I didn't want to do, so I just wouldn't bother going in. Then you get sort of removed from school and put in different rooms for being effectively truanting and badly behaving, but I was sitting there reading books about code. No one really put those two things together. So I found it really difficult to think, well, I've made it this far doing absolutely nothing, I should probably do something useful. Set up the website, worked for a couple of years on that, then put that with the backstage stuff at CNET and thought, well, this is basically my opportunity to say I can do all these things that I say I can do. And never has a day gone by when I haven't been incredibly grateful for having that opportunity. It was massive.
And he's crushing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Talk about a legacy.
We need you to hire us.
But you know what? Do you know what's really weird? Is that, I mean, I remember when Buzz Out Loud was first finishing, I sent in an email called Thanks for the Career, I think, or something like that, basically explaining this whole thing about sort of what had happened and how it happened. But genuinely, I mean, this is one of the things why the podcast was so crucial, is that I remember vividly sitting in a room and I was listening to one of the episodes of Buzz Out Loud, and Tom, you had said, or Molly, one of you, had said, we're doing this competition and you should probably enter because there's, a really good chance you might win. And, I just thought, okay, I'm going to do that. I'm actually going to do that. And at the time I just thought, I don't know if they're just saying that, or are they saying, yeah, this is our way of saying we haven't got that many entries. So please send an entry. And so I thought, right, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this properly. And set up this kind of mini studio in where I was living at the time and sent this in. And honestly, if I hadn't have been listening at that point and had you not have said that there's a good chance if you enter, I don't think I would have done it because I thought it was US only. And certainly I would never have then had the opportunity to go to the US, to work at CES, to prove myself, if you like, somewhat, and then ultimately get that job that led through from, I think I had 3 roles at CNET before I moved to Wired. So it was all down to that day and that episode of the show.
And to me, that's why I do what I do. I shouldn't speak for anybody else, but I think it's what we were doing at Buzz Out Loud too, which was let's create an environment to help people understand the topics, have a voice in the topics, discuss the topics, and there will be unintended consequences. I'm not going to take any credit for anything that happened because all we were doing was facilitating, and people had to be who they were and be as talented as they were to make it happen. But we provided the fun of like, hey, think about these possibilities that you didn't think of, and even possibilities that we weren't thinking of. Like, I didn't think when I made that cracker, and I think you made it too, of like, no, seriously, like, send us an entry.
We were like,
that we were going to like get someone to like take the first step towards what would be an amazing career.
No, I mean, I think that is the beauty of podcasting and the beauty of what kind of happened with that community is that it kind of translates into the way media is working now, where like, my son thinks that fame is 100% achievable because he just needs a YouTube account. Podcasting is 100% achievable for almost anybody, especially now because the tools are so easy. And even then, we would say the tools are easy, as long as you don't have to work within the CNET CMS. That might have made things easier.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's a lot better now.
But it was kind of like
right? It's a lot
better now. Mark Larkin wants us
He's
to
like,
know.
no, it's the same.
He's like, literally,
It's the same.
no comments. Way better, way better. But I think, like, what happened is that we had a great ongoing conversation with a whole bunch of people who were like, I could do that, and I'm going to do that because it is so fun and it is so exciting. And it's like, back almost to Natalie's question about whether I miss it, whether we miss it. I think that it was such a special moment in time. It will never be repeated, but I will always treasure it. And when the closest feeling I've had came pretty recently, actually, when I was at Marketplace. I don't know how many of you know, but I just took a new job at Marketplace, the public radio show. Thank you. That was not meant to be, it wasn't meant to be a plug, but here's what happened, right? I had this job at the New York Times, which some people who are not Buzz Out Loud fans think was a cool thing to do. Buzz Out Loud fans are not having it. They're like, just go back to the show. We're done. But I went down to Marketplace for this interview process, and the process included being essentially embedded, like writing and recording an episode of Marketplace. Because what I'll be doing is filling in hosting. And when I wrote and recorded that episode, it was the closest I have felt to the Buzz Out Loud high. Like, I used to come out of that studio just buzzing. Like, I'm kind of buzzing now just talking about it. Like, just
Tech TV.
Amped. Just feeling amazing. And that, to be able to think to myself consciously and even say out loud, oh my God, I feel like Buzz Out Loud, made me go like, oh, well, this is the job for me.
Yeah.
Because anything that comes even within spitting distance of that truly magical feeling is like what you got to do.
I miss the time is how I want to answer Natalie's question.
Yeah.
I miss that time. The way I miss, like, oh, I miss that great, I almost said that great dance in high school. I don't miss any of the dances in high school, but you know how some people say that. I miss that time, and you can't get that time back. Yep. But I do a daily tech news show because I fell so in love with doing a daily tech news show with Buzz Out Loud. I do It's a Thing, not often enough with you, because we have that fun when we do that show of riffing on each other. And we've been doing Sword and Laser for 8 years because of the same reason. And I want to work with Jason more. And Rafe. But that's the thing, is like, what I'm trying to say is I've taken what I learned and what I enjoyed, and I've tried to grow it into new realities and new things.
You know what, something I gotta say this real quick, something I learned very early with working with Veronica on something very specific and small, and it seemed like a dumb, nerdy thing that nobody else cared about, but it made me realize, and to this day, how important it is to go with your instincts, even on the small things, because they can sprout into huge things. And that was when we decided to start that guild in World of Warcraft. And we thought, yeah, we'll do it around the show for the instance, we'll get people in there, and a lot of fans will come, and it'll be a fun thing, and we might get 50, 60, 100 people maybe. There's 7,000 people in that guild now. It is the biggest guild in the history of the game, and it's been going for almost 10 years, and it's opened more doors for me than I could ever imagine. Just this dumb idea of, hey, let's start a guild. Me and a hunter and a freaking, what were you? I don't even remember. A shaman decided to go make a guild, and it changed really the trajectory, not only of my podcasting career, but who I would know, who I'd be connected with, the kind of friends I would make. Like, it has literally altered my life. And it's all based on a silly game and a silly guild and all this other stuff. But that was an amazing moment. And to know that you've just got to sometimes go with your simple ideas and see what happens from those things, it's just a really important principle.
Absolutely.
So when Scott popped up, the chat room went crazy.
Right.
There's another face in there.
If you're watching the video, you saw Eoz from the chat room.
I even went old school with the type today.
Oh, with the capital Y, nice.
Yes.
I did cap the Y for you, Tom, particularly.
Ah, you're the best.
Since you butchered my name so often.
Elyaz, Eoz. I did on Tech News Today eventually learn how to say your name.
Yeah, it only took working with me for about 3 months.
Yeah,
so.
it was, you know.
I'm responsible for Fate Mo Kid. I will say. That was a really slow burn.
That was a hard one for
That was
me
a really
to
slow burn
to
for me.
turn around.
Yeah.
So Ayaz Akhtar was one of those people who always had something really informative to say in the chat room, and there are a lot of people like that who would help the conversation. It's one of the things that I feel naked doing a show without a chat room. You know, like we do Sword and Laser offline, and sometimes I'm like, we don't know anything without the chat room there. And so when we were looking for somebody to help out with Tech News Today, I was talking to Lisa Kensel, and she's like, well, who would you want? And I'm like, well, I'd want somebody like Ayaz Akhtar, like really smart, young, good at this, but he just got a job at PC Magazine. So she went over and grabbed Ayaz, and he came over. And
that was at CES, right?
Yeah, it was at CES.
Ayaz just happened to stop by at CES and chat and whatever.
And so, you know, history was made, and he joined the show, and now he's off at CNET. And you just took over. Wait, can I say anything?
I don't know if that's public yet.
Okay,
but
he's going to do an awesome thing.
Mark says yes.
Mark
said yes.
Mark threw his hands up.
Mark's here, so
the 404 is what he's on.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's not new. He's been on that.
Okay,
Yeah, I was like, wait, what?
But I was like, okay, is that the big announcement?
No, I was trying to move past that.
Okay.
Oh, okay. We're taking it back. We're taking.
I'm gonna stop talking because I'm afraid I'm gonna just.
Here's
I don't know what I don't know.
Here's what you do know. Ayaz came over to CNET and took over the homepage.
Yeah, okay, that's the thing I was gonna say, but I didn't know if that was new.
Yeah.
But that's not new. Which is ironic because that is the job that Tom and I were doing when we were having the interesting lunch conversations that led to the podcast. We programmed the CNET homepage together.
I had that
with the
job in
Front Door team.
1997.
Yeah.
It has a long storied history.
Wow.
We're going to talk about bad CMS?
That was Vignette.
That was when they were building Vignette.
That was pre-Vignette.
Pre-Vignette.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
We were doing
This is
headline
inside
tweaking
baseball.
before BuzzFeed even dreamed of it.
So Ayaz, you are definitely kicking ass at CNET.
Thanks.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you, guys. Let's see. I used to work at home by myself as an editor at a place called Gadgetel, and bless you, son. I got my son over there. He just sneezed.
Baby, I love that show.
I used to just be bored at home, like just editing stuff, and then eventually I found Buzz Out Loud, and you guys kept talking about this chat room. Like, this chat room, they're telling us stuff. So I'm like, what is this chat room? Because I didn't even do internet chat then. And I got in the chat room. There's like 30 of us, I think, at the time. And you guys just started answering me back. Sure, my name was hacked a bunch of times, and that's why I changed the way I spelled it. Well, not spelled it, the way I capped the letters. But it was so awesome to like, oh, I can actually talk to you guys. And like, I remember when I met Molly the first time, I think I told her the story once. And I was at CES, like my first CES, and I met you like at an RCA, like terrible panel. And I was like, you're Molly, and you're like, yes. And I'm like, you're great and awesome, I listen to your show all the time. And then I was like, I never said who I was. I'm pretty sure I was the only Ayaz in the chat room, but I was like,
it would have worked, I bet.
Yeah, that's so
and that was so cool. That was just so weird and cool. And to get to work with some of you guys over the years has been ridiculous. So thanks for putting up with me so long. I appreciate it.
That's a pretty great, I have to admit that's a great story, like from chat room to our old job.
Yeah.
It's like a pretty weird full circle, and then to be doing podcasting here.
He's weird. He is someone up with which we will put.
He is someone up with which we will put. Yes.
So Mark said I could say the thing?
No.
No.
Then no.
He looks stern. So.
Okay.
Which is how he always would look when we started doing video at CNET. He would stand back there with his
could
arms
never
crossed,
tell if he was
exactly
happy or
like
mad.
that, rocking,
Very
like
difficult to
rocking back and forth,
Smiling,
with
but kind of
smiling,
scowling,
but not
like-
exactly smiling.
I remember
Head
that
nodding.
look in
Be like,
February
"Am I fired?"
2005.
As your weekly naked tech news reading will have to wait another day, buddy.
Yeah, that whole other thing. Yeah, just come back in like mid-April. Something
right.
you might see something in mid-April. And hey, Nate, good to see you too.
Well, and
Hey, dude.
And that's the thing is, Ayaz has been doing all kinds of great new stuff, like joining the 404, doing more videos for CNET TV. I really love, I don't even know if I've told you this, putting together those like what's coming to Netflix pieces and stuff like that. It's incredibly useful.
Yep.
the big idea was to like make a video that you would want to watch. I'm like, what's on Netflix or Amazon this week? Actually, it was Liz's idea. Liz told me, she's like, well, what about this? And I was like, I'm gonna steal that if that's okay with you. She's like, yeah, go do it. So I made it a show, and Bonnie loves it. And if you guys know Bonnie doesn't give praise very often. So I was like, cool. I'm gonna enjoy this while I can.
Excellent.
That is so weird that you are at CNET.
I know. Like,
He
working with Bonnie Cannon.
He is
and,
in
like,
our job.
Being a badass.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. I love it.
Oh,
I remember
Scott.
when I went to
Scott's gotta
CES,
go.
Bonnie scared me quite a lot the first time.
We're saying goodbye to
Yes,
Scott.
we're saying goodbye to Scott.
Oh, yeah, I've got film sack to do. A podcaster waits for no man. I
That's
just want
right.
to say real quick, thank you again for not only having me on, but you guys already know I think the world of you. I tell you that all off the air anyway, but it's just a thrill to be in this thing, to be a part of this in some dumb, stupid way. Scott from SLC is really proud to be associated with all of you, so thank you guys for...
Likewise, my brother.
Broadcast forever.
We got a bunch of more voicemails to get
Yay.
through, too.
All right, let's do it.
So let's go to Gil from San Diego.
Oh.
Gil.
Hello, Buzz Nation. It's Gil from San Diego, or the Attorney General of Buzz Nation. I'm so sad not to be there with you all. I was hoping to be able to get out there, but the schedule just didn't allow for it. Like everyone, I miss Buzz Out Loud, but I'm loving DTNS and all of your new endeavors. Hopefully we'll see some of you in San Diego real soon. And I continue wishing the best for everybody and all the folks in Buzz Nation. I always have and will continue to love the show.
Yay!
Oh, Gil.
Thank you, Gil. Yeah.
We called him the Attorney General of Buzztown because he is in fact a lawyer who I believe is getting involved in San Diego city politics now. I keep seeing, like, I don't know if I can't remember if he's running for city council or something similar because we're Facebook friends.
This is how we take over.
We're just
we
all
start
friends,
seating fans in
Seat 'em
government,
up.
and then they move up, and then
Someday we'll be able to create an actual Buzztown, like in
A
physical
real
space
town.
that we can reign over.
It'll be in South America.
It'll be sovereign. It needs to be sovereign.
No, yeah.
Yeah, and Gil, this is the dirty little secret of Buzztown is that we like the community so much because all y'all do all the work for us, and we'd be like, we don't really understand this legal thing.
Yeah.
And then Gil would call and explain it.
Exactly. It's amazing.
That's absolutely true.
Another example of that is having a psychology professor in the audience.
Totally.
Like, I don't know, Dave.
Hey, Tom, Veronica, Molly, Jason. This is Dave Broadbeck. I first called in 2006, emailed in 2006 under the name Dave the Psychologist when Tom and Molly were arguing about how to use the term learning curve. Tom used it correctly, by the way. But I've been listening back in 2005 even, before Veronica, then eventually Jason shows up. And the 1000th episode, and the t-shirt, which I was one of the people that signed it. And eventually, in real life, actually became friends with Tom, and I won a bet with him on the 2010 Olympic hockey final, which he still owes me a bottle of Irish whiskey for. Perhaps if it ends up being Montreal against St. Louis in the Stanley Cup final, we can go double or nothing on it. Go Habs, go, and love the show.
Dave is somebody that I got to meet and get to know in person up at the podcast conference in Ontario that they would have, podcasters across borders. Great number of awesome podcasters in Canada, and it was really nice to have Dave there that I knew, even though we'd never met in person, to kind of like show me around and introduce me. And, yeah, exactly. It was really fantastic. We also have Chris, the college librarian, to tell us something. Hi, Chris. Well, maybe I do that, and then he'll talk.
Hi, it's Chris, the college librarian. I miss you guys. Sorry I can't make it out to the town meeting, but say hi to the elders for me. Be well.
What just happened?
That
was it. Good job, Chris. Because didn't we remember that brief time when we tried to? This is how my love affair with Fordo started. We had an outgoing message, right, to tell people to try to keep their calls to 30 seconds.
Oh, right.
Right? Richard's like, oh yeah.
Created that, right?
You
Jason?
created that. We're like, try to keep it to 30 seconds
yes.
with us.
On
Yeah,
the
exactly. And so we had
message.
this outgoing thing, which was hilarious. Like a dismal failure for the most part. But it became, like a lot of people took it to heart and were like, rules. And then they would say, I'm getting close to my 30 seconds, I gotta blah. And then they would just like, shut it down. And then they would hang up and they were amazing. And then there was my bestie Fordo, Marianne Ford, who I decided was gonna be my roommate, who would call in drunk on whatever. She would like
Nutella.
drunk dial us. But sometimes it was just drunk on Nutella, other times on life, other times she was like, I've been drinking Guinness all day. And she would leave these just amazing voicemails. They were like 4 to 7 minutes. I mean, she just was like, I think I'm somewhere near 30 seconds. I don't know. It was delightful.
Yeah, like 3 minutes in, she would say
Just amazing. And I want you guys to know that I tweeted in Facebook to her, and I hope she's watching right now, because I'm calling you. I'm putting you on Front Street, Fordo. She goes, well, I'm going to call you tonight. like an hour ago, she says. So I don't know if we're going to hear from her today, but
She's just going to call you.
I just remember, I remember basically being like, we cannot edit her down because I love her.
That was what made her voice messages kind of special, right? It's like a lot of people would call in and their messages would go 2, 3, 4 minutes, and at a certain point you're like, okay,
like, no.
we can't possibly play this because where are you even going at this point? I kind of checked out there for a second.
Yep.
With Fordo, you heard, this is Fordo. And you were in. You were just like you were ready.
All right.
Kind of kicked back.
You were like, okay.
Bring it on.
Stay on, Fordo.
I can't wait to see what kind of journey you take me on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
amazing.
We have I think someone who kept to the limit here, Hobbit from PA.
Hi guys and ladies, this is Hobbit from PA, and just wanted to call and say how much miss having all of you in one place. Getting to listen to you every day. Tom, as one of your bosses, I think you should try and have an all BOL episode of DTNS. Thanks for all the fun, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
All right, well, if you guys will cooperate.
If your bosses keep chipping in more money, eventually I'll be on every week at least. So.
Well, that's right. See, you just need to get DTNS to the level where we can hire Veronica and then bring in Marketplace's Molly Wood as a guest on that episode. Done.
True.
It's easy.
Done and done.
We have unnamed. This person just wanted to remain anonymous. They also are from the UK, so listen close.
Hi Tom, this is a voicemail for the BOL anniversary show. You asked people to call in and kind of let them know what's happened since they started listening to BOL. I started listening to Buzz Out Loud when I was about 16 years old, back in 2006. Since then, I've finished high school, gone to college over here in the UK, then university, which you guys call college, obviously, and then met my current wife, got married, and actually made a go at a career in filmmaking, which is what I went to university for. So quite a lot has changed with me. I don't know if you remember somebody calling up many years ago to Buzz Out Loud to ask if they could put a Buzz Out Loud video on a video package on a wrestling show in the UK. That was in fact me. Not quite sure why I wanted to do that, but there we are. I think it was just to fill time, but it seemed quite cool at the time for me. So there we have it. Quite a lot's changed in my life. Congrats on the anniversary. I'm sure a lot of us wish it was still going, but all of you guys have moved on to a lot bigger and better things, including your show, obviously Molly Wood with the New York Times, etc. There's so much that's happened since then in your lives and the lives of your listeners. So keep up the good work on all counts, and wherever you guys are, various facets of the internet, I'm sure we'll all keep listening. Cheers, guys.
Yeah, that was another thing that I loved is the people who were like, oh, I want to do something with Buzz Out Loud. And I remember when he was like, I want to put it on the screen between matches. And I'm like, okay,
our reach was both far and unexpected.
That was fantastic. Thank you for that.
10 years is a long time.
All right,
we are hella old.
Two more voicemails before we wrap up.
All right. Then can we just check? Do we have a way to check to see if Fordo called us? I know that this is like my thing. Okay.
Jenny's going to check. This is pending Fordo, the penultimate message from Rogue Tess.
Hi, Buzz Out Loud alumni. All the feels. I wish I could attend the reunion in person, but alas, I will have to be satisfied with enjoying it digitally. Here's what I've been up to. I'm still happily teaching high school English in Irvine. I'm still a tech early adopter who finally drank the evil empire's Kool-Aid, and I now evangelize for Google Apps for Education. I spend my summer on the tech workshop circuit as well as Nerdtacular. Sadly, though, I scored no San Diego Comic-Con tickets this year, but I will attend a 10-day silent meditation retreat in the desert right before school starts.
Wow.
I still knit, especially geeky Doctor Who and Firefly stuff, but I no longer surf or snowboard. I also gave up the streak in my hair. So glad that Brian is still rocking his. My kids are out of college. Angela is working as a legislative assistant for Representative Zoe Lofgren of the San Jose area, and Peter is studying physical therapy. My husband Larry plans to retire this year, but I have a few more years before my pension kicks in. Pension. I sound old. I'm still in contact with many of my Buzztown buddies, many who have experienced milestones like marriage and kids and job changes. Our glue is still Chat Mom Jeannie, who is the tadpole mom at Frog Pants Studios. Best wishes to all Buzz Out Loud folks and affiliates. Lots of love, Teresa, a.k.a. Rogue Tess.
Yeah. Rogue Tess.
Yay!
That was my first time I got a little
me too, actually, teared up a little bit. That was the
teared
first time
up.
because she's such a she's just one of the mamas. She made me my first ever infinity scarf.
Oh yeah, I still have a scarf
me too. Got it.
with DNA double helix.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Where's my scarf?
I mean, would I say?
I paid her for it.
When I told her never make Veronica one of these, I didn't mean it.
That was the ha-ha.
That was amazing.
Before we wrap up, one last from Hockey Buzz's Eck. Hockey Buzz, by the way, I did not know this when I first met Eck and started talking, is not an accident. Like, he picked that name because of us.
Yep.
Here's his call.
Hey there, Tom and Molly and crew. It's Eklund from HockeyBuzz.com, and I'm so sorry I can't be on today with you guys. Right now, we are currently, as you're listening to this, speeding our way to Florida in an airplane, trying to escape this winter in which Mother Nature tried to kill us in the Northeast a couple times. So we're getting the heck out of Dodge. But we're going to Florida. But anyway, I have to call and say thank you so much. Congratulations on everything and all your successes. And it's just been an incredible journey to watch from the outside. And I've said this many times, but Buzz Out Loud was my secret weapon. Daily Tech News Show, everything has been my it's been my inspiration for so much of what I've done, and what the tools you guys taught me, and the technology keeping me on top of things, and the inspiration to do it on your own. And now, now I sit there, and when I first listened to you guys, I was just a musician, and now I'm a guy running a website with 30 employees and traveling around the world, covering a sport I love, and all because of you guys, honestly. And I mean that sincerely. I will support whatever endeavors you ever do, because I feel that strongly about the impact that you guys have had on my life. And I know I'm just one of many out there. So, and I'm lucky enough to be able to tell you this in person. So for all the people out there whose lives you've impacted who couldn't say this in person, thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. My whole family and everybody around thanks you for doing what you've done. Have a great show. I can't wait to watch this later. Take care.
Thanks, Zach.
Yay.
All right, let's just break that tension.
You don't have to come to me.
So we're going to thank, first of all, Natalie Morris for joining us on Skype. It was great to see her.
That was amazing.
And thank you to Scott Johnson for jumping in. Nate Langston, thank you for being here as well.
Yay, still in the line, hanging out.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm still sitting here. I'm still here.
So before you go, let folks know where to find both your podcast and your work for Bloomberg.
Yeah, well, I have just one little thing I wanted to say first, which is that what I find amazing is that I could sit here and say that I owe in a big part the last 10 years of my career to Buzz Out Loud, and I would think that that is amazing, and I could say no one knows what this means to me, and it's amazing. But listening back to all those calls and the messages that you guys have got, it's amazing that despite the fact that I got in part a career out of listening to you guys, so many other people have had so equally amazing stories that I don't feel that no matter how good my story is, that it is remotely unique in its size. Like the amount of people that have been changed by the show, it's just incredible. I think that it's something that I hope you guys, and I know you guys are, but you should be really, really proud of. I think it's just amazing. So thank you for all that. And also, just as a weird part too, my brother is a senior editor at CNET, which is bizarre because, I got into this, and then he saw what I was doing, and he followed me down, and now he's doing crazy well in his own career, in his own right. So, both of us, in a way, have that to, well, thank you for that, I guess. I'm ill, by the way, if you can't tell, I'm slurring my words.
Well, you're ill, if that's what you mean.
But that's it. That's my thing done. I'm on the web, on text message, if you search for my podcast, and Nate Langston on Google, whatever. But thank you, guys. It's been amazing.
Thank you so much, Nate. Appreciate it.
And a hand for mini Ayaz, because, oh my God.
Oh yeah, speaking of handing it down to the next generation, Ayaz Akhtar.
Yeah, so let's see, 10 years ago, he was not around. He's gonna be 5 in June. You wanna say hi?
Hi.
Hi.
And it's been a fun ride. Thanks for having me on today. And I've learned a lot about technology thanks to all of you guys. And one way or another, I mean, either working with Jason directly, working.
Can I do it?
You want to do it? Okay. What do you want to say?
I'm gonna be born in June.
You could your birthday's in June.
Time travel.
Anyway, it's been great working.
Dad?
Yes.
One time I left school, it said I had to turn my real birthday, so I turned 5 already.
Okay, at school you had your birthday. Well, anyway, I want to say thanks. Thank you.
They do hate imprecision, much like Tom and Alex Brewer. Children cannot stand imprecision.
It's his birthday at school already, so that's technically what happened.
Yeah, that was not my real birthday.
Okay,
What is pretend?
I know.
It was pretend.
I was there for your real birthday. Thank you. Anyway, thanks.
Follow Ayaz on Twitter. It's twitter.com/IYAZ and look for his new show, Ayaz and Sons, coming to you soon.
Coming to CNET.
Coming to CNET. I blew the big announcement.
Oh, man.
Thank you, Ayaz, man. I've learned a lot of tech from Ayaz, too, even when he was in the chat room at Buzz Out Loud.
Yeah,
That's
I think at Buzz Out Loud we learned a fair bit about tech, but a lot about life.
I really miss it because I know you guys still work like heavily in the tech industry. You guys still do your journalists, and I've kind of like gone away from that, from being like, a tech journalist, obviously, and I was never more informed than when I was doing Buzz Out Loud. And I miss that.
Yeah.
I miss that day-to-day, like really being deep in it. Even when I was doing Texilla, we were doing more reviews and testing products and not really covering the news as much because it was a weekly show. And I really miss like being super deep into it, and that's something that I really appreciated about being on that beat.
Well, you could just start doing daily on Daily Tech News Show, or read Yahoo Tech and keep up to date.
With what the world is doing.
What everybody wants to know about tech. Yeah, so it was the most fun I ever had at CNET, and almost any job was doing Buzz Out Loud, and it. Not only was I super informed and had a super good time, but it was the only job I've ever had where, for that indeterminate amount of time, it was the only thing in my head. The only thing that could take me out of the world and put me so focused in there. Man, that's the high.
Yeah.
And that's what I miss. And all my life I'm going to try to get that elusive monkey back,
Yeah.
That was it. I loved it.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Follow Rafe, twitter.com/Rafe.
Yep.
And look at Yahoo Tech.
Tech.yahoo.com.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely. Thank you, Rafe.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah.
Jason Howell. Oh, were you going to say something? I'm sorry. You were going to say Jason Howell? Because that's what I said.
No.
Jason Howell.
Hi.
Thank you for being here, buddy. We could not have made Buzz Out Loud what it was without you.
Well, I would have been pretty torn up if I would have missed this, only because I hear so much, especially from you when I worked with you about Tech TV and how special that was in the beginning, and I hear a lot about that. Sorry. I didn't even realize I did that, but I'm not bummed in the slightest.
Not sorry.
And there's something special behind working in a place like that. And I look back 10 years ago when I was just starting in my professional career after school, and it really was at CNET the moment when you kind of walked up to me and you said, hey, I know that you're into audio production. Do you want to kind of come over? And at the time I was doing stuff for Marianne and the ZDNet business side of things. And I was like, you know what? Audio production is kind of my bag. I want to try this out. And it's weird how when you look back in time, you can find a particular moment and you can pull that out as being like, if that hadn't happened, there's no way I'd be doing what I'm doing right now, that my career, or my life would not have led to this incredible path. And, 10 years later, doing all these things, I can kind of narrow it back down to that particular point, that conversation that you and I have. And I'm just honored to be brought into the fold. I always was so honored to, because I was a fan before I was a producer of the show, listened to it religiously. So it was like, you guys are bringing me into something special. So thank you for doing that.
Well,
I really owe a lot to you guys.
You don't owe us nothing. You made it happen. Well, you might owe Molly something.
That's true. I will take $5.
And then we're even. Twit.tv/AAA.
Yeah.
The premier Android show, all about Android.
Well, I like the sound of that. All about Android, yes. Doing Android stuff, all about Android at Twit. Also doing Android App Arena. And then I'm producing pretty much the big shows on the network. This Week in Tech, This Week in Google, Mac Break Weekly. For Leo.
One of the hardest working men ever.
I mean, seriously.
He always has
been. Always has been. And Jason will not. Jason is he is great for a million reasons, and one of them is that this is a man who will not let a problem go. Like if there is a little, if there
in
is
a good
some,
way. Yeah.
Yeah, no, in the best possible way. He will just like work it until it's fixed. I mean, it's like, and no matter how many emails he got about the Zune or the with this feed or the whatever, like he never dropped a ball. Like you never drop a ball.
Yeah, I would often, when Jason was working on the show, we'd look at stuff and I'd be like, you know what, just drop that. Don't worry about it. We need to prioritize your time. And he would come back maybe 2 weeks later. He's like, oh, remember that thing you told me to drop? I fixed it.
I stayed until like 2 a.m. one night, just because it just was bugging me.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Amazing.
Thank you guys.
And that leaves the three of us. Veronica Belmont.
Hi.
What's up?
Here we are.
You know,
what are you doing?
The usual. Yeah, I mean, echoing what Jason said, I wouldn't have a career without Buzz Out Loud. I mean, it really was, if it weren't for you guys giving me a chance to talk on, turn on that board side mic and argue with Molly about something.
I think it was just egging you into it.
Yeah, it never, I mean, Tom had to explain so many times, like, oh, that's our producer, Veronica, talking. Because they were like, who's this person? Where is that other female voice coming from? It really, I loved technology before that, but the show really made me want it to be my career. And so I owe a lot to you guys. I owe everything to you guys and to CNET for giving me that opportunity. And, I knew what podcasting was before I started doing Buzz Out Loud, and that's one of the reasons why I was so excited to get involved and be able to produce a show. And now it's my life, it's what I do for a living pretty much. And I'm so privileged and honored to be able to have such an awesome career and get to work with so many amazing people. I'm getting the thing now, but it's really wonderful.
When we were driving over here, Veronica was like, when we're talking about what we've been doing for the past 10 years, what am I supposed to say? And I'm like, award-winning host of the biggest science fiction and fantasy book club on Goodreads and 8-year running podcast, a highly sought-after presenter for some of the largest corporations in technology. She's like, look at me. She's a host of television shows. You're kicking it. Yeah. You're amazing.
It's been a wild ride, and I'm just so happy that we still get to have people who enjoyed the stuff we did in the past and are following us on this crazy journey of our careers and all this weirdness, and it's been wonderful.
I would say follow you on Twitter, but they already do. It's Twitter.
At Veronica.
Twitter.com/Veronica. And of course, swordandlaser.com.
Swordandlaser.com, yep. Vaginal Fantasy. I'm allowed to say vaginal on this live stream, right?
Sure, you are now.
Sure.
Vaginal Fantasy with Felicia Day, Bonnie Burton, Kylie Caseby. We have an episode up Tuesday night for our next book club episode. I just hosted the Game of Thrones red carpet, which was crazy and really amazing and special. And yeah, it's been a crazy month so far. A lot of good stuff in the near future.
Well, I'm going to go next. DailyTechNewsShow.com. If you still want Daily Tech News, there's some people who do. Go check that out. I also do a bunch of other podcasts you can find at TomMerritt.com. But mostly, I just want to say that this has been a really fun reunion. And Buzz Out Loud, as we said over and over, was an incredible moment in time that I treasure. I learned so much from it. At the risk of making everyone drink, I would thank Regina Preciado, who got me my first job at ZDTV. Does that count?
No.
It turned into Tech TV.
Okay.
So thirsty.
A huge thanks to Candy Myers, who, when Tech TV moved away...
Oh, I'm out. What am I gonna do?
There's water.
There's also rum. When it moved away, gave me a shot at CNET, which turned into an amazing opportunity. Huge thanks to Leo Laporte, who gave me a shot to do daily tech news there and continue to develop things and meet great new people. And thanks to all my current bosses that support all the shows that I do on Patreon. I couldn't have done it without any of those people. And all of you people and everybody in the chat room, and I'm going to shut up.
Yay.
Hey, could you?
It's now your turn.
Oh, you're just it's like he's just shutting up because he's starting to cry. No, he's not done. Oh, God. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else there is to say other than it was one of the greatest. It was the greatest time in my professional career. Like, I just can't remember a time when we felt so free to. I mean, how blessed could you possibly be to basically get to do a show where you just act like yourselves and talk about the things that you're really into?
Absolutely.
Like, we didn't have to pretend. We didn't have to. I'm astonished at the degree to which we did not censor ourselves. Like, we were so lucky that kind of nobody was paying that much attention exactly. It got to be really long and it was every day. Like, who could listen all the time? And to be able to sort of build a career based on just exactly who you are and what you love is like, just, I mean, that's beyond remarkable. It really is. And I don't think that'll ever be repeated in our professional careers. And I'm so delighted that Mark Larkin is here because, like, and this man, no matter what, whenever he texts me about whatever new job I have, which is a lot lately, it's always like, there's nothing. There is no this without that. And so thank you so much. And leaving CNET after 13 years was like the hardest thing I ever did because it was basically like leaving home. And I just am lucky that I got raised right.
Well, to keep abreast of the rest of the day's news, check out our sister podcast, CNET News at news.com.
Oh, wait, no, before we go, we have one last thank you.
What's that?
To our host, Darren Kitchen. For having us here, making this incredible day happen. Please come have a seat.
Get in there.
This is tremendous.
Excuse me.
How embarrassing. This is tremendous. Like, I know you guys have spent 3 days or longer working on constructing this phenomenal set. This is an amazing space. We are so grateful to you for putting this magical day together, and we got you a little bit.
Oh my gosh, thank you guys so much. You have no idea how honored I am, and the rest of the Hack 5 crew will echo this, to spend a day being Jason and being Veronica and producing this for you guys. Buzztown was the most welcoming place ever, and it's because of you guys that I had the confidence to come out to California, because I knew that I would have, friends here already, and you were so welcoming on BOL, and even with TNT and DTNS. And one of the things that I did at the end of every show is we would have remember the little office chairs, you would kind of do a little move at the end of the show, because it's like, hey, do your best chair dance. And I just kind of started doing this, I'm in a little Skype window, so I'll do this, right? Little finger dance.
Finger dance.
Well, the funny thing about that is it's so Pavlovian, because I would do it at the end of every show through BOL and TTA and now DTNS, and it was always because it was because I was so jazzed, that energy you're talking about, that buzz, I was just so happy. And then I would find myself doing this later on in life. I'm like, wait a second, I know I'm happy right now because suddenly I'm doing the finger dance. And when I'm blue and I need to pick me up, I just do this. And it works, guys, it works.
That buzz, man.
Speaking of buzzes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
All right,
thank you. We're going to take this to the bar
you
later.
can play the music.
I'm stupid. It's a blind spot. I'm like, it's not in front of me in words. I can't think right now. Trying not cry and show.
Oh.
So, hak5.org, one of the heirs of the family.
Yep.
Having Darren and Shannon on the show. Go check it out. And we'll see you later.
We'll see you later.
Thank you,
Thanks,
everybody.
live audience.
Thank you.
Thanks, Trevor.